to Daytime York Region. Sure, worms come out when it rains and they smell kind of funky, but they also do so much for our environment. So to sell it, blah 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 blah. Sorry,
You're tied up on the funky worms.
Funky worms.
Funky
so
worms.
to celebrate Funky Worms and Earth Day, we brought Kathy Nesbitt from Kathy's Crawley Composters, and of course some of her Wrigley worms to join in on the fun. Kathy, what are worms, red wrigglers, doing for the Earth?
Well, these worms eat half their weight every day in organic matter. So a pound of worms and their descendants can transform a ton of waste in a year. And the average household produces a ton of waste. So every house needs a pound of worms.
Every
so
house
pound
needs
worms
a
per household, and we eliminate our organic waste problem.
Exactly. Yeah, if municipalities want to reach their diversion rates, everybody should be composting, either in their backyard or indoors with worms.
So where do we start then with worms? Big bucket of worms in a garbage can?
Sort of.
Okay.
It does need to be managed. If anybody's familiar with outdoor composting, it's the same premise. You need carbon and nitrogen, or the browns and greens.
Okay.
I use shredded paper as an additional waste management tool.
Okay.
The worms are 90% moisture, so they need a fairly moist environment. So what we do is...
But this is for indoor, right?
This is indoor composting.
Perfect.
It's people think, oh, is it going to smell? But no, it doesn't smell. It's an aerobic process, which means with oxygen, so it doesn't smell. The worms eat the food just prior to it becoming smelly.
Oh.
So,
Okay.
so in addition to the paper, we've got leaves, cardboard, this could be straw, any kind of carbon source. You add in a liter or half a liter of soil in a container this size. So that's why I've used this handy milk carton.
Perfectly sized.
And this is just ordinary garden soil.
Oh, so
okay.
nothing special.
You don't want purchased soil because you want to add in the microorganisms and grit. Worms have a gizzard, so it helps them digest their food.
So if I wanted to make one of these, I'd have to go outside and just dig up some soil.
Just dig up some soil.
From the neighbor's
Now,
garden.
you don't want to use the worms from outside. Those are night crawlers. These are red wigglers. The main difference is the night crawler goes 6 feet into the ground, comes up at night to draw its food down into its burrow. The red wiggler only goes 6 inches to a foot into the surface, and they're not soil dwellers.
Gotcha.
So they would be in your composter or your manure pile or
Gotcha.
some other organic waste. So in addition to the paper and the soil, you would add some agricultural lime or crushed eggshells.
Okay.
And what's that going to do for us?
This is going to balance the pH in the bedding. So then you just mix all this up. The worms,
Why is balancing the pH important?
because
worms.
oh, thank you. The worms breathe through their skin. So if it's too acidic, it's gonna burn them, and they're gonna be crawling out. You're gonna have worm crawl, and that's not very fun.
Not
Yeah,
very
worm
sterile
crawl.
for the worms.
That's
My
worm
uncle had
speak
that.
for help. You know, you're burning me. So it's a message. It's
Okay,
how they
so
talk to us.
pH, very important.
Very important. And you would actually, once you continue feeding your worms and everything, you add crushed eggshells about once a week or every 2 weeks, just on top. You sprinkle it.
Just keep your eggshells when you're done.
There you go.
Okay, so we're mixing up there. I wanted to ask, you mentioned food. So what am I putting in here for them to eat and turn into compost?
Anything that you put in your backyard composter can go in your indoor vermicomposter. So no meat, no dairy, no sauce, no salt, anything like that. You put in fruit and vegetable peels, coffee grounds, cooked pasta and rice, tea bags, coffee filters, paper,
All that stuff.
all that stuff.
I don't need to
Fabulous.
treat it. I just drop it in and they'll eat it up on me.
Well, no, thank you for that.
Okay.
You actually need to pull back the bedding.
Right.
You deposit your chopped up scraps in the hole you've made and cover it up. That's so you don't get fruit flies. So it does need to be managed more than your outdoor
Okay.
composter.
So
The fruit flies are fine. They also help break it down. But
I'm just burying it.
yeah, you don't want them in
Right.
the house.
Yeah.
And then you rotate around the bin.
Okay.
So now the bedding is ready. It's moist. You can feel that it's fairly moist. So in a bin like this is my little starter kit. So this is really meant to get children excited about the environment. It only comes with a 1/4 pound of worms and a carrot-shaped grater, a little children's book, which is Canadian, and the spoon. So it's a whole kit. And it's, instead of getting a hamster and the squeaky wheel,
And you ain't
why
got-
not get 200 worms? So would one of you like to assist me in...
All right. So
Okay, so this is about 200 worms. There's 800 to 1,000 worms in a pound, so this is just a 1/4 pound of worms.
Okay.
And you can see they're quite lively and squirming
Oh,
around. So whenever you're ready to put them in, you can just deposit them
Just
on
spread them
top.
across the top there?
Yeah, and worms are photosensitive, which means they're afraid of the light.
They're very tiny. I was expecting them to be, thicker, the ones you see on your driveway.
Yeah.
When it
Are you
rains.
sure you wouldn't like to hold a little squirm of worms?
They're
They
so
can't
cute.
hurt us. They can't hurt us. Yay.
Oh.
Well done. Nice.
Oh,
So we've got
See?
aren't they cute?
Oh, aren't they great?
when the
5
kids are
hearts.
5 hearts. You
Yeah.
gotta love worms
Yeah,
if they have
thanks.
5 hearts.
full of love.
Thank
so
you.
we got the worms in there. They're all crawling, and I've decided to go to a full composter like the green bins you've got there.
Right.
What's necessary to know before I get a composter?
Okay, there's 3 key elements to successful vermicomposting. air circulation.
Okay.
So you need to have holes in your bin, whatever type of bin you choose. Temperature is key. They're just like us. They like room temperature, so 16 to 21 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay.
That's the optimum. They're eating half their weight, reproducing at the phenomenal rate they do. They can survive between 4 and 30 degrees, but at the extremes, they're not eating half their weight and doing what they're supposed to do.
Okay.
So you would get your shredded paper, same with how we started here. In a bin like this, you would have a pound of worms.
Okay.
So again, the 800 to 1,000 pounds, 800 to 1,000 worms in a pound.
Okay.
And they're eating half their weight. So a pound of worms,
Wow.
half a pound a day, 3 to 4 pounds per week
That's
of.
a lot of garbage.
Yes,
That's a lot
It
of darn
is.
garbage.
It really is.
it really is.
So I'm feeding them. They're creating the really good poo.
Yes.
And then how do I harvest the poo?
Oh, thank you. The easiest way. So
A lot of worms.
So you start like this, and then you're feeding them every couple of days. Instead of every day, you would feed them a couple of times a week, and then they convert it to this.
And that's what they're making for me.
This is what they're making. So although there's still bits recognizable, it would be time to harvest or separate the worms from the castings.
Okay.
The
We've actually got a picture on the screen of what 1 pound of worms looks like.
A lot
Okay,
of damn
so-
worms.
That is
A lot of damn worms.
It's a squirm.
It's a squirm of worms.
It's a squirm of worms. That's what a group of worms is called. How do you like that?
Gag like geese and a squirm of worms.
Thank
Who would
you.
have learned it? And I just harvest that and throw it right in my garden?
Well, sort of. It's premium stuff, so you don't want to just throw it. You can, no problem. But you want to use it sparingly. And what you do, actually the easiest way to harvest is when your bin looks like that, is to dump it out on a plastic sheet, put it in round piles.
Oh, yeah.
On a sunny day, it's perfect. Again, the worms don't like the light. They're going to go down into the piles. You scoop off the top part of each pile. Thank you. Anything recognizable, like any bits of paper, whatever, you would just add back in. The worms will get it next time. And then to use the castings, this is my new packaging. Isn't it fabulous?
It's beautiful.
Oh, I love it.
I've got people
I'm glad I
saving
didn't
stuff
ask
for me.
for a glass of iced tea, though.
Yes, do not consume.
So castings is worm poo.
Castings is a fancy word for worm poo.
Okay.
Isn't it better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. So it's got a handy pour spout. On one side it says why we've used this recycled packaging, which is, to save the environment. And on the other side is how you use it. So all you do with this is you pour it out, you top dress your house plants, about a tablespoon or so per month. And as you water, the nutrients are released, and it's nature's finest fertilizer.
It's really simple.
Absolutely
Everybody
amazing.
should be doing it. We can get rid of all our household organic waste with just a pound of worms and a simple project. You've also been kind enough to give us a starter kit.
Yes.
What do we have here? What are we giving away?
Well, this is the starter kit. It comes with the bin. You can see the worms have gone in, so we've set up the bedding. It'll come just like this. It comes with a Canadian book.
There you go, helping your environment.
Great.
It's perfect.
Give it away at the end of the show?
Yeah. We'll give it away at the end of the show. We'll tell you how. Thank you very much, Kathy's Composters, helping us celebrate Earth Day. Of course, for more information about the compost, you want to check out kathyscompost.com for all the information. A very cool website.
Thank you.
Coming up next on Daytime York Region Entertainment with Phil Martino.